Okay, for today's video, we are going to be talking about Apex Theropod deck building game. Um, this is the only video I've actually recorded for this channel already that I've deleted. I recorded it a little bit ago, but then I didn't really like how it turned out. And I know not all the videos that I've made on this channel have looked great, but this one I just felt like I forgot out some key stuff, so I ended up just scrapping it. But I knew I did want to make this video because I kind of want to make this a series on the channel. But I'm glad to actually have this video about to be up on the channel. So, this is a game I've actually owned for a while. I've had it for like 7 years probably now. 6 or 7 years actually. And I've actually not played a full game of it yet. I remember whenever this game was coming out, I remember seeing the whole idea of it and like the artwork and stuff, and I just thought that the game looked really good. So, and I thought the game looked really good, and I thought the artwork of all the dinosaurs looked super awesome. So and the fact that, if you know me, I'm a big Theropod fan. I mean, that's the reason why my channel's name is Jurassic Theropods now. Theropods are my favorite group of dinosaurs. So, a game based around playing as the top predator in the environment, being dinosaurs, just sounded like such an awesome game. So I knew I definitely wanted to get it and play it. I still haven't played a full game of it yet, though. I plan on actually playing a game of it on the channel, and I'll kind of explain that in a little bit. But first, this part, I want to get into the species. So this is just for the Exotic Predators limited edition set. They made two, maybe there's more now, but they made more variations of this game, and the Exotic Predators, I don't know exactly if they're still in it or not. I don't know how that exactly worked, but they made 4 expansion packs of playable new species. And every species, at least in the Exotic Predators one, is listed from a difficulty level from easy to Exotic Predators. Starting with, so the 4 levels are easy. Or no, it's not Exotic Predators. It's easy, moderate, hard, and brutal. Brutal is obviously the hardest mode. So, I don't know what the expansion ones are, but the expansion decks were Megalodon, which isn't a dinosaur, but awesome, cool prehistoric animal. Actually lived after the dinosaurs, though. But one of the cooler boss species in this also lived after the dinosaurs, so I'm fine with it. And then there's Therizinosaurus, which, also kind of weird because Therizinosaurus probably at the most was omnivorous, but probably was definitely more on the herbivorous side than the carnivorous side. And then there was Saurophaganax, which is the only Jurassic one, but if we've got animals that live past the Cretaceous, I definitely don't think it hurts to go before the Cretaceous. And then the last species was Suchomimus, which, that one made the most sense out of the 4. Just because, it's another Cretaceous theropod. Other than the fact that, well, I guess at its time it probably was the apex predator. But we're going to go into the easy species. So I do want to note this, though. The first time I play this game, I will be playing as the easy one just because, it's my first time playing. So I want to not lose for sure. And, I mean, I could still lose with the easy one. But I plan on doing either all the easy species, then all the moderate species, then all the hard species, then all the brutal species. Or I might just do 1 easy species, 1 moderate species, 1 hard species, and then 1 brutal species. But let's just get into the easy species. So this is the ones I could potentially be playing as. So first, we're going to get into Acrocanthosaurus. If you've seen the channel recently, you can tell I've started to become an even bigger fan of Acrocanthosaurus. I just recently got this figure, actually. This is the Terrabibitat Acrocanthosaurus, and I recently got the Carnegie Collection Acrocanthosaurus. And this is what the little booklet, this is what it has for Acrocanthosaurus. Acrocanthosaurus, North America, 115 million years ago. Acrocanthosaurus is the most balanced predator in Apex and great for new players. The predator also gives a little taste of everything. So, really cool dinosaur, one of my favorite theropods because, it's a Carcharodontosaur. Not as closely related to Giganotosaurus as Giganotosaurus is to like Tyranotitan, Mapusaurus, and Carcharodontosaurus, but it is still one of those and like an Allosauroid. So definitely one of my favorite dinosaurs. but it's probably my second favorite of the easy modes, but I definitely would not be upset if this is the one I end up playing as. Then we have, oh, and also, with each of these, there was like a few species that went specifically with them. I think Paralotitan was the, oh yeah. So there's also different playable species, or I mean, not playable, there's also species that you have to hunt and stuff. So there is the apex, which is the species you play as. Then there is prey, which is the easiest prey to fight, usually doesn't put up much of a fight and usually just tries to run away in most examples. Then there's big game, which is the in-between, would sometimes run away, but most of the time would fight back. And then there's titans, which are species that are usually so big that an adult one usually can't even be killed by your species. But in certain situations, you could kill it. Yeah, that's usually only for sauropods, though. But there are some non-sauropods that I think have been titans in the game. And then there's menaces, which are like smaller predators that really wouldn't hurt you much, but like would maybe take out some of your hatchlings, like your babies, or they would take out the prey from the environment. And then there's predators, which are other animals that are some of the higher predators in the environment, but usually aren't the top predator in the environment. And then there's the boss, which is usually the other top predator in the environment. Usually fills a slightly different niche. Like one of them is Spinosaurus is one of the playable species, and the boss is Carnotaurus. You know, those are the two top predators of Africa at that time. So that's kind of how they did that. So for Acrocanthosaurus, its boss was, I believe, Deinonychus, which, you know, makes a lot of sense. Another species it would have competed with. And then we'll get to the next easy species, which is Carnotaurus. Carnotaurus, obviously a really cool abeliosaurid. This is what it has for Carnotaurus. South America, 70 million years ago. Carnotaurus is a very ambush predator that tries to compete with the heavy hitters in a small package. Carnotaurus relies on small ambushes and thrives off of hazards that would be very dangerous to other predators. And like I said, it is an easy species. Probably my least favorite of the three easy species, but like I said, I really like Carnotaurus, so obviously I wouldn't be too upset if I ended up having to play as Carnotaurus. Then we move to the third apex species that's in the easy category. And this is probably my favorite, but like I said, I like the other two, especially Acro, but it's Giganotosaurus. Probably my second favorite dinosaur right now. You know, another Carcharodontosaurid, the giant South American species, and this is what it says for Giganotosaurus. South America, 97 million years ago. Giganotosaurus is powerful. If you mixed a velociraptor with a T-Rex, you would have Giganotosaurus. Giganotosaurus relies in attacking in numbers with force. So that's what it says for Giganotosaurus, and that's the three easy species. So the first gameplay we will do on this channel will probably be one of these three species. I mean, it won't probably be. It will be one of these three. And what I am going to do, if my YouTube channel was big enough where I could do polls, I would just have a poll. But since obviously I'm not the highest YouTuber subscriber type thing, whatever, I think it's 500 subscribers. We're a little ways away from that, but I'll probably just put it in the comments. I'll have a pinned comment saying like, which species do you want to play as, and then I'll have Carno, Giga, and Acro right below it, and then you just like whichever comment you want to see. And the video will probably be up in a week, so vote as soon as you can, and just vote, just like whichever comment of the species you want me to play as, and I will try to play as that species. Oh, I forgot to go back to the bosses. For Carnotaurus, this is one of the bosses I was mentioning earlier, it's not a dinosaur, and it didn't live with the dinosaurs. It's Titanoboa, which, you know, didn't live with Carnotaurus, but it did live in the same area. Like they both lived in South America, so I understand why they did that. And then for Giganotosaurus, the boss is Mapusaurus. You know, one of its actually closest relatives. Now we're going to move into the moderate species. So there's 7 exotic predator species that are in every game. And then there's the 2 exotic predators. The 2 exotic predators are the brutal category species. So the 2 moderate species are T-Rex, and this is what it has for T-Rex. North America, 67 million years ago. T-Rex is a well-balanced predator, relying on size to do most of the work. This apex relies on strong family bond of the parents and its young working cohesively together as a pack. When T-Rex cannot hunt, it can easily scavenge. And like I said, it's one of the moderate species. And its boss is actually another T-Rex, which is pretty cool because, you know, T-Rex wouldn't have had much competition, at least not, no fossils have shown a big species that would have competed with much. So it makes sense that its boss is T-Rex itself. And then we have, as the other moderate species, we have Velociraptor, which honestly probably should not be an apex species because, you know, I love Velociraptor. It's one of my favorite dinosaurs, but, you know, Velociraptor was probably more like a coyote compared to the wolf. But this is what it says for Velociraptor. Asia, 75 million years ago. Velociraptor is the king of swarming your opposition. The downfall of this apex is its very small size. Using pathfinders to cleverly plan out your attacks and recruiting your whole pack is a must. And once again, that is a moderate species. And like I said, Velociraptor, you know, probably shouldn't be an apex species because its size kind of limits it a lot. But I'm glad that it is playable. But its boss is Tarbosaurus, which also lived in Asia. But I'm not 100% sure if they actually coexisted. I think Tarbosaurus might have actually been after Velociraptor, but, you know, it is what it is. I understand why they made it the boss. In all honesty, Tarbosaurus would be the apex in that environment, even if I do prefer Velociraptor, I'm going to be honest. But, you know, Prehistoric Planet showed them together, so maybe. But Tarbosaurus would definitely have been the apex in that environment. And I think they just did this because, you know, Velociraptor is a super popular dinosaur, and Tarbosaurus would have such a similar play style to T-Rex. They probably wanted, you know, just some more diversity because Velociraptor is very different compared to most of the species that are playable. And now we move into the hard. So there's two species in the hard category. First is Utahraptor. Utahraptor is super cool. It's, you know, one of the largest dromaeosaurs, the largest actually by far as of the ones found right now, considering, you know, Megaraptor is not a dromaeosaur. We really don't know where Megaraptor is. Most people think it's an early Tyrannosauroid or a Coelurosaur, and some people think it's still a Allosauroid, but it's not a dromaeosaur. It's pretty much what it is. So Utahraptor reigns king of the dromaeosaurs, at least in size. And what it says for Utahraptor is North America 126 million years ago. Utahraptor is not as much about swarming as it is about ambushing. Using scouts and planning strategic ambushes is what this apex is all about. However, growing the size of your pack is still very important. So, you know, Utahraptor, it's kind of unfortunate that this is the only Utahraptor figure I have. I honestly didn't even realize this was Utahraptor till a little bit ago, but I'm definitely going to try to get some more Utahraptor figures just because I do love Utahraptor, and I should have a better figure of Utahraptor. Now we're going to move on to the last base game species, I guess. Oh, and Utahraptor's boss, I think, is actually Utahraptor itself. It might be something else, but I'm pretty sure it's actually just Utahraptor itself because, you know, I can't think of anything. There might have been some big Allosauroid that still remained with Utahraptor, maybe Seats or something similar to that, but I think that makes a lot of sense to have Utahraptor be its own boss. And then the last hard species is Spinosaurus, and like I mentioned, the boss for Spinosaurus is Carnotaurus, but for Spinosaurus, it says Spinosaurus is a real force to be reckoned. Spinosaurus Africa 100 million years ago. Spinosaurus is a real force to be reckoned with, but the apex has its limitations. The key with this apex is ambushing with lurkers and saving your resources till you grow your species. Spinosaurus is already a genetically perfected hunter, so you don't have to waste precious resources on evolved cards. And like, I don't remember if I mentioned this, but there's also some cards in the game that aren't just species. There's like cards that help you like grow your deck, because this is a deck building game, and I haven't really played many deck building games, so I'm not exactly sure how that works, but there are like evolution cards to help grow your team, and then there's like injury cards that like decide the severity of your injuries, and then there's environment cards which affect how many species you can hunt, and like can just end the game pretty much depending on the certain one you draw. And like I said, its boss is Carnotaurus. And now we move to the two exotic predators, which are kind of the stars of this set, but they are also both brutal, so these will probably be some of the last ones you see on this channel played as. And it is Sarcosuchus is the first one, and it says Sarcosuchus, Africa, 112 million years ago. Sarcosuchus also, I'm pretty sure, lived in South America, but this one is the African species. And it says Sarcosuchus is a nasty, strictly ambush predator. Sarcosuchus is an absolutely must along with your hoarding every bit of food to expand your species. ambush, hibernate, and grow is the key with this apex. And that makes sense because, most crocodilians have to play it by luck almost. They have to rely on what's given to them. And then the other exotic predator is Quetzalcoatlus. Oh, wait. For Sarcosuchus, I think the boss is actually Spinosaurus. So Spinosaurus is a playable species and a boss, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm going to look that up in just a second to see if I'm right about that. But Quetzalcoatlus is one of the other bosses. It says North America 67 million years ago. Quetzalcoatlus is a very specialized predator relying heavily on critical ambushes or swarming the skies with drones and commander. Planning ahead is a requirement for this apex to stand a chance against bigger predators. And like I said, these two are brutal. And if I didn't mention Sarcosuchus is for Africa 112 million years ago, but Quetzal's boss, I'm 100% positive, is Hatzegopteryx. Sarcosuchus' boss is either one of these three. It's either Suchomimus, Spinosaurus, or no, it's Tyranotitan. That's what it is. Yeah, it's Tyranotitan. I knew there was some. I was thinking it was either Suchomimus, Spinosaurus, or Suchomimus, Spinosaurus, or Tyranotitan is what it ended up being. But yeah, Suchomimus ends up being a playable species that has Spinosaurus as the boss. That's what I was getting confused. But yeah, it's Tyranotitan. So that's each playable species and their bosses. And then there's other there's hunting cards. There's like carcasses, which are like stuff you kill, you can keep for extra stuff. And there's egg cards, environment cards, all kinds of cool stuff. And here's some of the examples. One of the prey cards is Struthiomimus. One of the big game cards is Triceratops. One of the Titan cards is Argentinosaurus. One of the menaces is Madstia, which is a kind of snake. And then one of the predators is Carnotaurus. And the game looks really awesome, by the way, if I didn't mention this before. But here's like some good examples. So if you're kind of confused by like the roles, here's an example in like Africa of what something would be. The apex being the lion, the boss being like the hyena. Some predators would be like leopards and crocodiles. A menace would be like a jackal. And the Titan, there's actually like 3 or maybe even 4, depending on what you consider the Cape Buffalo. But considering Triceratops is a big game, I would probably have a Cape Buffalo as a big game. The Titans I listed as hippo, rhinos, and elephants. And then prey would be like anything else like gazelles or wildebeest. So that's Apex Exotic Predators. I'm really excited to play this game, if you can't tell. And like I said, I am going to put the poll in the comments. So please vote, so that way I know what you all want to see. Because like I said, I'm happy to play as any of the species. And this is what I am going to do, though. In like 2 or 3 days, I'm probably actually going to record that video. So, but I don't know. It will at least be up by in a week, I would say. Maybe not. I'm going to try to get it uploaded soon, though. So comment which one you want to see, because I am going to try to get that next video up soon, or at least to try to. But whatever is the leading comment at that time is what I'm going to do. Unless it's tied, then I'm just going to be the personal tiebreaker, I guess. So if you pretty much, this is probably what I'm going to, say it's a 3-way tie, I'm going to pick Giga. But if it's a tie between Acro and Carno, I'm going to pick Acro. But if Carno wins, I said I'm fine with Carno. I'm fine with playing as any of these species. I'm planning on playing as all these species, hopefully, on this channel. If you all want to see that, that is. So, thank you all so much for watching. And, once again, please vote in the comments for which one of these species you want to see. Because that will be the species that will be in the video. So, I want you all to have a little bit of control on this channel, since I am super thankful for you all getting us up to where we are on this channel. So, once again, thank you all so much, and I am out. Okay, at the end of this video, I did kind of forget one thing, and that is the featured figure section. I kind of did mention some of the figures in this video, but I do want to go over each species figure and each brand, so that way if you want to pick them up, like I've said before, you can. So first we'll go with, this is the Papo Carnotaurus, an awesome figure. Definitely would recommend picking it up if you want to get it. Then I had the Theropod Acrocanthosaurus. I think this might have been the only one that I actually said the figure of. And that one I actually do have a full video up for just that figure on the channel if you want to watch. Then this is the Jurassic World Minis Quetzalcoatlus for Dominion. Then this is the Safari Limited Prehistoric Crocodiles tube, I believe, Sarcosuchus. Then this is the Feathered Dinosaurs Safari Limited Velociraptor. Then this is the Safari Limited Baby Utah Raptor. This is the Schleich Mini, but not the super tiny series. It's the smaller set, but it's the Schleich T-Rex. If you look up Rainbow Schleich T-Rex, it should be one of the first things that come up, I think. I think that's what most people look it up as. Then this is the Safari Limited Spinosaurus. And then this is the Safari Limited Carnegie Collection Giganotosaurus. So that is all the featured figures. These are all figures I personally like a lot and would definitely recommend picking up if you like them.